And we back, y'all. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy Monday, happy Indigenous People Day. I hope you had the day off, but if not, sorry you had to go to work, but we still cheering for you nonetheless, and this is why we here. This is the Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel. This is your boy James, and joining me as always is my special guest, Mrs. Beth. I'll say what's up to her.
Hello, happy Monday and happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Welcome.
Yeah, shout out to my girl Jim Bunny, who already in the chat with us. We appreciate you being here, love. The Real Housewives of Potomac, season 9, episode 2, Double Trouble. Y'all, I'm trying, but Real Housewives of Potomac got to do something. I know we only 2 episodes in, but they got to do something because this is not giving the spikes that I like. So I don't know what we need to do, but we need to do something. So we open up the episode where we left off, which is Mia in the bathroom crying. I'm a good mom. I'm a good mother. I can't believe Giselle and Karen. And you had Jasmine and not Jasmine, Jazzy and Jacqueline in the bathroom consoling her, saying they don't know what you do from day to day. They don't know how what you go through. They don't know the situation with you and G. Like, don't let them get to you. And she goes, I know, but I just hate it. And I'm just looking at this bathroom, saying, like, girl, you don't get your ass out this bathroom and go back and sit down.
Thank you.
Lord, all this dramatics and drama and stuff. Now, in hindsight, were Karen and Giselle doing a lot? Absolutely. They were doing the absolute most, but all of this was to deflect from Karen's situation. And job well done, because we didn't talk about it no more. So Mia joins the table again, and Giselle immediately apologizes to Mia, and so does Karen once Giselle does it. And they're telling her, we're not here to talk about your mothering, anything. We would never want to bring your kids into this or nothing. We're just letting you know how we feel, based upon what's out there and, talking about it. And Mia just, says, okay. And, she really ain't paying them any attention at this point. And I wouldn't either. But first off, Mia, I would run to the bathroom crying because at some point, to me, that made you look just guilty off GP. I wouldn't let them see nothing. Like, y'all can think what y'all want to think. And I would have brought up their stuff. But Mia's trying to come in, making sure she has equal balance on here. And I get it. It's the strategy being a housewife, I guess. Just being yourself isn't, just the only requirement. You got to have strategy these days. So they then move on, continue playing this dumbass hat game. So Giselle addresses Wendy. She goes, Wendy, me and you are not in the best of places, and I would like to take you out to lunch. And I felt like our relationship was always in a bucket. So I got you a bucket hat. It was shade, absolutely. That hat was ugly, absolutely. But Wendy made the best of it and had a little rap that she stole from somebody. I feel like, because I know I heard this rap before. Hey, Kevin Reynolds, thank you for joining us. I feel like it was Goldie from The Flavor of Love, the first episode. I feel like that's where I heard that from. She goes, my name is Goldie, and I'm the best. All the B-boys like to feel my breast. I feel like Goldie said that first. So shout out to Goldie from The Flavor of Love. If I'm wrong, y'all, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. If it wasn't her, I'm sorry. But I feel like that's who said that rap first. And Wendy just copyrighted. But, it's been years since The Flavor of Love. It's been 20 years, actually. So, damn, shout out to Flavor of Love, the real original reality TV show of life, because we all tuned in to watch that. So, but yeah, I think it was Goldie who did that rap first. Then we have the derby hats given to Stacy, Jazzy, and Jacqueline. And Jacqueline said she should have never left the group in the first place. And she said that's Mia's fault. And then Mia's like, damn, everything is my fault. And I'm looking at Mia like, so you saying it wasn't your fault that Jacqueline went around? Okay, Mia. Okay, Mia. All right, Mia. That's fine. And Mia had the pimp hat. I remember that. And that was pretty much it. But and the ladies did invite them to a GNA event. They're taking, I'm gonna explain this a little further, but GNA is taking a different approach, and the ladies are gonna have an event to honor Giselle's dad. And they invite all the ladies, and all the ladies agreed to go. And that was pretty much it from that point. Was there anything you want to add to this scene, Mrs. Best?
Really, like, yeah, I agree with Jim Bunny. Mia and Jacqueline are exhausting. What annoys me about this cast as a whole is they will cry about some stuff that they done started themselves. Robin did it, Mia does it, Karen does it, Giselle does it. They all do it to a certain extent. So I didn't care too much for the scene because it was basically some more of that.
I agree. I agree. It was, just a waste of human space. It just really was. So the next thing we see is Giselle and Wendy go on their lunch. And Giselle gets there first, and you could tell she really did not want to do this. She looked like she had an attitude. She looked like she wasn't ready. So when Wendy get there, she's like, "Oh God!" And Wendy comes in here with these. I don't even want to call those feathers because that's not what that was. That was kind of like pom pom materials, like when you have cheerleaders have pom poms. That's what that looked like on Wendy's arms. I'm like, Wendy, why would you wear this? Now, usually Wendy does not miss
The
anything.
outfit was loud. I agree, Kevin. I just said this in the last recap. I've been saying it, and James be laughing at me. Now, I'm not judging those who like shows like Baddies and who watch Zeus. Hell, I recap Love and Hip Hop in Atlanta, and half the people on the networks come from that. But I don't subscribe to that shit. If I want to watch people fight, I'll go to Oakland and watch people fight. I don't need to do it on television. And the way that Mia's storyline comes off is very like D list, E list, Z list celebrity. The whole situation is messy. That's why I didn't feel not too much empathy off of her crying, saying from them saying she didn't look out for her kids. Because you didn't. You got one man questioning paternity, and you're like, hell, it could have been him. I don't know. And then you got the other one thinking he the daddy, and then you used him for his money till he got cancer and his little tillywhacker stopped working. I mean, the whole situation is the hot mess express. So I agree with you, Kevin Reynolds, and I'm gonna shut up now. Sorry, James.
No, you're good. This is why you're here. I need you to interject when we need to interject because she is like this is the wrong franchise for me. It really is. But they're not going to get rid of her because she is the only one who's really bringing in authentic storyline, regardless of the hood antics. But it is what it is. They got to do something. So when they get there, Giselle pretty much tells Wendy, because this was once again ridiculous and just drawn out to be stupid. But Giselle pretty much tells Wendy's like when they left off, she feels that with Wendy, there's always a condescending undertone or there is a demeaning of a person whenever they bring something to her, which I did agree with. And then from Wendy's standpoint, Wendy says that you started this by initiating a rumor that was about my husband, and she did. So they pretty much have a strike with each other. They pretty much have a strike with each other. There was no Giselle did do some wrong. Absolutely, that's what started this. Wendy did, accomplish, but Wendy does have a demeaning statement. She just does. She just has a demeaning aura because she has 4 degrees, and we had to hear about that her whole
Wendy
first
gives
season.
me the energy, and you see this a lot in the Bay Area, but I'm sure it's everywhere. Where it's them Black people who feel like because they was able to get their degree and make it out the hood, or may not have been to it, or subject their children to it, that they are somehow better than everybody else. That's what
Yes.
Wendy gives me. Some people get their education because they truly want to make a difference. I'm just going to point out myself there. And then there's other people who are getting an education not just for money, stability, and making a difference, but also for the accolade to have to discuss and talk about amongst other people. And Wendy definitely gives that energy because she never wants to talk about anything that is not totally positive or that paints her in a light where not only does she look good, but she looks educated.
Absolutely. And I agree with this statement that Kevin Reynolds said as well. They had to intervene with them because one, Robin wasn't coming back, Candace wasn't coming back. So it was one of those situations where like we can't just have a whole new group of women and then you two still be on the outs for whatever egotistical reason. Because for both of them it was egotistical. Wendy, because she felt like she had to defend her husband and they were never able to come back from that. And then Giselle for thinking that, Wendy is better than her. Because y'all know how Giselle has this complex where she doesn't like when women are better than her. So, that's just really what it is. But they end up making amends, end up laughing. Then, Giselle asked her how she felt the event went with, Karen and Mia and, that whole situation. And, she pretty much was on like, I think, it could have went better, but it is what it is. And she goes, have you met Ink? And Wendy said no. And Giselle said, well, Karen's met him. And Karen said that she had looked over her shoulder and couldn't find him. And then they were making a short joke about him, which is, I mean, there's nothing wrong with him being short. Y'all are playing, y'all are making this way too.
As quiet as it's kept, there's a lot of women just that I see from traveling and going out in the world that are dating men that are either at their same height and or shorter than them. That
Mhm.
act like they not or like it's the worst thing. Date who you get along with and who you can
Right.
also look at and get turned on. That's it.
It's really that simple. It's not that hard, y'all. It really isn't. And this guy obviously does it for Mia and I feel like Mia does this to herself because Mia is in her own way because she doesn't have to take those pictures like that. I see what they were talking about how, she always is like 3 feet back and let him to make him seem like he's taller. And it's like, Mia, you don't have to do that. Like, I know you're doing that out of spite. Like, women like her, that's what they do. I'm still side eyeing Mia with this relationship because something tells me something else. In my opinion, this is allegedly not come out.
Shayna. Shayna said short man. That's why I say it has to be somebody that you like or who turns you on. That matters because
So,
if you're not turned on, in my personal opinion, you can't be with somebody. But that's just me.
y'all, this is Shayna underscore MCD. So please subscribe to her channel. That's my girl. Me and her are so much alike because I'm this way too, Shayna. I'm this way as well. It doesn't work for me. I've had someone my height. That was the only problem. Other than that, it was okay. But yeah, it just wasn't an automatic like, yes, we here. But no, the taller the better. If you could be 7 feet tall, the better. I don't know how you're gonna get in the car, but we'll figure something out. What do y'all say in these comments before I move on? Yes, Mia can. Oh yeah, absolutely. She would do so well on Zeus, looking like Tom and Jerry. Kevin, you a mess. Mia's a big burly one though. She really is. I didn't realize she was that big. I actually was looking at her not that long ago. That's a big
No,
ass
people
woman.
thought they was bullying her. Look at her hands. It's kind of like, okay, don't fault me, y'all, because I was a dog trainer for many years. It's kind of like when you look at a puppy and they got big paws and you know they're gonna end up just big as hell, just big and tall, like the section of clothes. If you look at Mia's hands, they are massive. They are massive. I'm trying to tell you, they are massive.
Mhm.
That's a big ass woman. I don't care. Tall as hell.
That's right, Shayna. We sure do. But yeah, so that was the end scene with Giselle. You have anything you want to add to that scene before we move on?
No, I don't comment on pre-produced bullshit.
So the next thing we have Stacey Rue. She, the new housewife for QVC. Um, Stacey pretty much gives us an introduction to her life. That's pretty much what this scene was. We meet her daughter. Her daughter is fluent in 3 languages, which it will almost fluent, because I think she was still struggling. But Stacey's German was real well. I was like, oh my God, that woman is really smart. I love it. I love being educated, smart one that actually can showcase it without it looking like, oh, you just showing up for the cameras. And she was like, no, I'm showing up for my child. I want to make sure she's fluent, and I love it. We understand that Stacy is, still legally married to her husband. They live in a house together. They're in separate rooms for their daughter's sake because they have not broke the news to their daughter that they are divorcing. Stacy also has a condo in the city, downtown DC, where she retreats to when her husband is home and he has time with the baby, and then she comes back when he has to go. So they kind of do it where when he comes in she's gone, and then when she leaves he's gone, because they're really trying to figure out this divorce situation. I feel like I understand taking a delicate approach to a divorce, but when you guys go through the process, there is not going to be a delicate road for this. It's going to be ugly regardless. And seeing for me, I kind of feel like there's a way y'all can break this to her without it feeling like she's losing one or the other parent full-time access. That's how I feel. Mrs. West, how did you feel about that? I feel this way too. I feel like kids know more than one thing. So I feel like they know social media, and I think that's the blessing of social media in a way, because it makes them kind of having to see what the world is doing and how the world is moving versus when we were coming up and having to be surprised by everything and not know how to really handle it. So, yeah,
Psychology says that kids have the same thought processes and ability to understand as adults. The difference is wherever they're at in development impacts how they process or express themselves. So kids absolutely do know more than we think. Kids absolutely can connect the dots when you're trying to keep stuff from them. I think it's nice the little girl is trilingual. You can never know too many languages. That's something that can make you money in the future. But outside of that, I didn't care. I'm kind of bored of Stacy. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm a little bit bored. It's given she still thinks she on QVC, and we're not on QVC trying to buy a
yes, she
mug or a
does.
necklace, Stacy. I want to,
Yeah,
but then I'm glad that her divorce isn't so messy. But I'm like, I don't know. I was just a little bored. But her kid was cute. She seems very smart, and I respect her as a parent. So that's all I'll say.
absolutely. Her daughter was adorable, and I loved looking at the scene because y'all know I am a huge adversary for education. I love it. So, I really feel like this is something that, think you trilingual. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, I really think that that is something that I would love to teach my kids, but I don't know no other languages, y'all. So I'm just going to put them in some classes and tell them what they got and act like I understand them. So, you know how our parents used to do us. Thank God I did not grow up with social media generation X here. We're millennials, and trust me, we didn't grow up with much of it either. Like, especially for me, I didn't get a computer until I moved out.
We didn't even we got MySpace like at the end of high school,
Yeah,
but that was really it. I kind of miss the times without it. So when I go out with my husband or on vacations, I'm noticing I take less pictures. But then when you do that, you look around you and you see the younger generation, the Gen Z, every single thing is photographed, every single thing is recorded. And I'm like, live in the moment a little bit. Cause how can you enjoy it if you're stuck in your phone the whole time? No, but that is me. People also tell me I'm boring. So there's that.
Well, hey, we all have a little boringness to us as well. But hey, as long as you enjoy life, that's what the whole purpose of you being here is for. So let's go. Yeah, let's move on. Karen goes over to Giselle's house, and they begin talking about pretty much Giselle's GNA event and what it's for and everything. And she's paying homage to her dad. We understand that Ashley and Giselle are taking kind of a different approach to this whole GNA apparel. It was once been apparel, but now they're kind of changing it into like kind of like a mental wellness thing. And y'all know exactly how it gets. So y'all stay tuned to the end of this video because I just want to know what that entails. Coming from Giselle, of all people, and Ashley. I mean, Ashley, I
I
almost
want to say
agree.
this is somebody in the behavioral health field. If you ain't got a degree in it, if you're not certified as a life coach, if you have not sponsored somebody in AA, please stop trying to help others with mental wellness. There does a lot that goes into it. I can't take Ashley and Giselle seriously. I just can't. I wish they would just be okay with and admit to collecting a housewife check, as many housewives have done throughout the years back in the day, and leave it there. Just be the messy lady receiving the housewife check. And then Giselle's got her podcast with Robin that is still successful. It's
It's
really just
ridiculous.
Ashley who's not doing shit with herself or her life or anything. But Giselle, I don't even like her, but I will say she at least has some successful ventures separate from this. And I just can't take her and Ashley together seriously.
I can't either. And we're going to touch more based on that when we get to it because I want you guys to stay tuned because we're going to do a little throwback of what we used to do when I reviewed this show. So, moving on from there, Karen mentions to Giselle that she has also something that's going on, but she's going to make Giselle's event, but she has something else going on that same day. And Giselle said, well, what is it? She goes, I'm supposed to be getting some kind of award, but it's supposed to be early in the afternoons. Karen just ended up just lying. But Giselle said, okay. So it was funny because you could tell Karen was lying. You could tell that she didn't want to tell Giselle right then and there, hey, I've got an event at the same time, and I'm thinking about inviting the ladies at the same time your event is. Because she knew Giselle was going to put her out her house and her Uber driver wasn't there yet. So she had to space this out. Y'all know how Karen is. She had to space them out because she didn't want to get thrown out of Giselle's chapel. So she was like, okay, well, you know what, Giselle, I'll make your event. I'll make it. So how short lived that is. But before we go to that event, I want to talk about Stacey and Ashley. So Stacey and Ashley go have like a little hike situation, and they're trying to connect with each other. They talk about race, and we learn a little bit more about Stacey. We know that Stacey's from Detroit. She is a full-blooded black woman. She said that she growing up in Detroit, she appreciated having black wellness around her because she got to experience her cousins, her grandmother, her aunts, the lady down the street that used to braid her hair. She wants her daughter to be a proud black woman as well because her daughter is biracial. But in society, you guys know how society looks at it. You're black. Once, even if you are biracial, you're still considered black if we're looking at the legislative time. So I understand that, and I feel like even though I hear Stacey, I feel like that's your fault that your daughter doesn't have a resignation with blackness the way she does with the German side of her. I feel like there should have been an equal balance. Why haven't you spent Christmas? Are your parents still living? Why hasn't Christmas been at your parents' house? Where's the cousins that you were just talking about? Where are they? Like, I'm assuming everyone's still alive. So why hasn't she experienced that, Stacey? Because y'all, my first thought when Stacey was saying all of this, I immediately went to that husband. I did, and I don't know why I did. I'm telling y'all, I didn't know why I did that. But I immediately looked at that husband and I said, something about this. Y'all know how I hate I gotta be like this on my channel. Yeah, and you know what's funny? You say that she kind of looks like her to me. I don't know, and I'm not saying like look like her, like they can be like they be sisters, but she has the same ambiance. She's just not as abrasive, but she looks like Kenya to me. I don't know why. It was funny. I was thinking of that when I was looking at this scene, and when she said Detroit, I was thinking that same thing. But I don't know. I blame that husband for some reason. I feel like he does not want his daughter to know that black side. I feel like it's the husband. Now I could be wrong because for me, and then I don't think I'm wrong because she was saying that she wants her daughter to have a proximity of knowing that she is a black woman, but you can't
Then,
do
in
that.
my opinion, then get off your lazy ass and make sure you, as the black parent, helps your child who is partly black to know about her black side. I personally don't see nothing wrong with dating outside of your race, but when you have kids with that person, if I'm black and I'm dating somebody who's Caucasian or Asian or of Indian descent, I'm not going to expect them to teach our child about their black side. I expect them to teach their child about their side that they grew up on. So that's on her. Nobody said you had to allow whatever went on that prevented this young lady from understanding her culture. Y'all could have took out the Spanish or one of them language and threw in some Twi or Swahili or something in there. There's lots of other options that she could have done. She could have chose French and connected her to the African countries that speak French, like Cameroon. There's a lot that she could have done. So I don't think that it's her husband's fault per se because she's responsible. But at the same time, I do understand and see that he's made sure that the German culture is there. So I kind of feel like, okay, Stacey, you should have done the same because I wouldn't expect a white man to teach my black daughter about her black side. I just wouldn't expect that. Even though that's her parent and you want him to like encourage it, he can only show so much, especially the types of things Stacey was describing. That's something you got to be around somebody black for. How else you gonna know to go get your hair braided around the block or to go talk to somebody for certain things? So she has a duty and a responsibility as a black person. And it sounds like she ain't do that. And why are you just now talking about this when the child is big as hell and fully potty trained?
Not only that, the reason why I put it at the foot of her husband, and I blame Stacey too. I'm not saying she's fully exempt from this whole ambiance of your daughter should know that she is half black and that she should know that cultural part, especially if you said that you had it. She should have it as well. But I feel like for me, I'm sorry, like it's not one of those situations where I'm like, you couldn't have taken her home for the holidays. I'm sure your family is still in Detroit, or if not, where are they? You ain't had no
That's what I said. She
girlfriends.
is equally responsible. Something as simple, like you just said, as taking her daughter home to Detroit for the holidays. There's all black
Yes,
people in Detroit. She could have done something. And it's very strange, especially to be in the Potomac area. You're around a lot of successful black people. A lot of black
yes.
meccas are nearby, such as Atlanta. So it's strange as he said that. I respect her for speaking out on it, but then at the same time, you can become successful without forgetting your roots.
And I feel like that's what she did. I do. I feel like she forgot those roots and didn't realize the importance of it until this world became this woke movement, which it always has been. It just now it's more apparent because we have social media to promote it now. But I feel like with her, even with her living in Philly, I feel like there's a lot of pivotal black expos that you could have taken your daughter to that would have been healthy for her. But you live in DC now. There's no excuse for any of this. As much as African American culture is broadcasted in DC, and it is y'all like success to the 10. I'm just like Stacey, come on. Now you ain't got me with this one yet. You gotta work on this, sister. You gotta work on it. So they then talk and she asked Ashley what do her sons identify with, and I said white. But but Ashley said that she identifies as a black woman, and and that she did have that same experience. She only knew her black side, and I feel like Ashley, if this was coming from somebody else, I would champion this. But you, darling, no, 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 no. This was crazy coming out of your mouth. Out of all the things we've seen on this franchise in particular, I'm not going to even state what it is, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Ashley, no, this is wrong messenger. Sorry, sis, wrong messenger. That needed to come from somebody else, like Wendy. Then I would have felt better about this conversation. But they start talking, and she says that she hasn't exposed her kids to any African American culture, which once again I get it. I get Ashley's a little bit different. I don't know how Stacey grew up. I don't know how Stacey grew up, but I can understand why Ashley hasn't exposed in her realm of culture. But like Jim Bunny said, y'all could take them kids to African American museums. They have them all over the place, especially in DC. Y'all could take them there and let them learn about the historics of Black people who created what and that we still use
Hell,
today
they
when
could
they
take
find their home.
advantage of Black History Month. It happens every year in February. They could take advantage of that month and have their kids learn something about Black culture. If they want to teach their kids about Black culture, they'll teach their kids about Black culture. But what is given based on Detroit's history and how Stacey is, I feel like her success caused her to forget about the hood a little bit, and not shame, but just forget about it a little bit. She was more focused on that man and keeping up with the Joneses. As for Ashley, based on her growing up with a mom, when she come home from school, sometimes addicted, as she would talk about, and all of those things, I think she's ashamed of being Black and looks down on Black women based on her experience growing up. But, nothing you can really do. They're raising their kids. I think with Stacey, even though she raised her daughter the way she raised her daughter, I don't think it's as bad as Ashley's situation because she's raising two men who are half Black. And yeah, I don't know. I just feel it's going to be disastrous based on the kids' parents. But it's an interesting topic. I think it's interesting they talk about this on Potomac because they're so afraid to talk about the colorism accusations. It took them literal years to address that, but you guys are comfortable talking about how you raise your kids to ignore half of their culture. I don't think that there are people with chocolate skin like me working behind the cameras in heavy amounts for Potomac because, come on, Married to Medicine is a good example of a bunch of Black people who are educated and worth a lot and have made it. And they acknowledge their doggone culture and where they came from. But then on this show, they don't do it. So it's very, very strange. She said Ashley needs to leave the show. Ashley needs to leave the show and get a forehead reduction because I am tired.
Ashley should have left this show 4 seasons ago. But the fact that she's still here, like I said, we're not gonna see nothing about this divorce no more for the rest of this season. We saw it this one episode one, and that was all we gonna see of it. We ain't gonna see nothing else. So I'm just like, having Ashley here is just pointless at this point. So yes, yeah, absolutely. Ms. Best had a great point. Absolutely. And the last thing we're gonna talk about, because I'm gonna get off of them because I can go all day with this. The last thing we're gonna talk about is Stacy and their relationship. Stacy is separated from her husband, as we mentioned earlier, and she said that she has a new guy that she's been seeing for a few months now. He was someone who was a proponent on QVC. He had an audition, and they kind of formed this friendship, and it kind of went a little bit further. And he's a handsome guy, I must say. I was really scared of what they was going to show us on this camera. But he's a handsome guy nonetheless. He looks strange and weird, but Stacey is strange and weird. So I think it might work out best for them. Could have gotten a Howard graduate to be a housewife. I don't know. They just really yeah, we'll just leave it at there. We'll just leave it there because I feel like they dropped the ball with this. They want to keep Giselle for whatever reason. They feel like she needs to be the face. They can give her to Karen for all I care. I think y'all need to do something with this show. I don't know what it needs to be, but y'all need to do something. But I felt like going back to Stacey, she said that her and the men are practicing celibacy. They have not had any kind of physical contact whatsoever, as far as intimacy goes. And Ashley was like, "Girl, like it couldn't be me," and it was like, we know, Ashley, hmm we see you, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing because one, Stacy is still married. So I think this is taking it slow and her having a friend is a good route to go. But she says that they're, progressing as time goes and she could see that the relationship could be more serious. How did you feel about the relationship, Mrs. Best?
She's not even divorced yet. The man is still living in her house. I'm wondering why she even seeked out a relationship. I feel like it was something to compete with that husband because it's one thing to not be divorced, but you're still living with him. Your child does not know. What are you doing? As for the not having sex to marriage thing, I don't find anything wrong with it. And people who actually take their religion seriously do that. So I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it's actually nice. At least they'll know they like each other and can bond when they're not hunching. So that's a good thing. But the red flag is you still live in the same house as your husband. Your child does not know that you are divorced, nor does she understand her Black culture. And you running around with a man who loved Jesus more than the coochie. I can't figure it through, but because it's like, eventually you'll have to tell your child of this relationship if you think it's going to get serious. But your child hasn't even had time to process that the parents is not together and will not be back together. The court hasn't had time to process nothing either. So Stacey, what are you doing?
She don't even know. So that's where I'm just like, girl, okay, Stacey, okay, all right. So speaking of colorism, have you noticed the cast is more melon this season? It's to overshadow the
That's Bravo protecting their ass.
Yes, we know. Absolutely, they're going to do this. Because they don't want to make it seem like. Go ahead, Miss Beth. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, especially with Candace leaving, I feel like they just wanted to replace people with. I feel like they were intentional with hiring darker skinned women.
I think Candace. It wasn't intended on Candace to be fired, so that's why they brought in Stacey to replace her. And I feel like with the whole Robin situation, there was no way they were going to give Kierna a fluke. That's how I feel. I feel that. Oh, and I forgot to mention Kierna. Oh my goodness. See, this is how I'm doing a horrible job, y'all. Sorry. I'm gonna mention her in a minute. But yeah, I feel like they had to get them on there just to say, oh yeah, we're not going to show you guys that we're colorist and everything, even though Giselle still moves like never mind. Let's move on, y'all. I'm gonna mention Kiana because I forgot, and y'all know I love Kiana. She's my favorite. So Kiana is back. She's a full time housewife. She has her own fluke, and she goes over to Karen's house. And when she talks to Karen, she was like, I'm moving in with my new boyfriend, and I'm excited about it. We're building a house from the ground up, and right now, so she's currently living at his place. I thought Kiana was married. This threw me for a whole loop. But what we learned about Karen's backstory is that her first fiance that she lived with, he ended up passing away. So she had to go through the trials of, putting him to rest and kind of moving on with her life. So we understand that she, this is the next serious relationship she's had since then. But what I love about her is that, she's real, y'all. This the real deal right here. I'm telling y'all, this gonna be my favorite this season. I already know. I already know she finna bring it. We already see what she can do. Them hands don't lie. So yes, I'm excited for Karen. Karen asked her why she wasn't at her birthday party, and she goes, "What birthday party?" She goes, "Oh, Giselle didn't invite you." She goes, "No, she didn't." She goes, "I'm going to talk to Giselle about that because I asked her to invite you," and they show the flashback of her saying, "Please invite Karen." Now, when she brings it to Giselle, Giselle said that, there was a table limitation. I said, Giselle, cut that out. Y'all didn't look like y'all was struggling at that table. She could have sat right behind me. Cut it out, please. Stop it. But but Karen mentions to Karen that there's a GNA event happening, and Karen said, "Oh, I'm gonna pass on that one because the last one I was at, I had to throw hands at, so I'm not going to no GNA. They can leave K out of it." And I said that was the best read of the whole night. Thank you, K, because we needed this. We needed somebody with a silver tongue on this show because it's not landed the way it should be landed. But I'm happy to see her back. I could tell once again she's gonna be my favorite this season. How'd you feel about Karen coming back?
I like Kiana, but I think we have to be careful of not to put too much hype on her just because she smacked up the Sesame Street character. We really don't know much about her separate from that, and she moved for me a little bit funny toward Candace, with Candace being the one who brought her on the show prior to all the beef. I like Kiana, but I feel like they're going to give the other women more camera time than her because of the altercation. I don't feel like production really wants her there. I feel like she's just there more so that production can please the audience to an extent. But I don't mind her and I like her.
I can see that. I could see production doing this to,
And
spite the
she's
audience.
the one cast member right now who has a genuine relationship with Karen on and off camera. So
Yes.
without Karen, I really don't see Karen's purpose because Karen is just fake with everybody at this point, which I can understand because you can't trust Giselle. Ashley's nobody's friend. Wendy is too temperamental. So I can kind of understand. It seems like they're trying to bring in people who are cool with Karen, like Stacy and her little person, and now Karen. Because Karen's the least controversial, probably the easiest to build a new cast around, in my opinion. So I'm hoping that's what's happening, but I don't mind Karen.
Yes, absolutely. I don't mind her either. So we're gonna go ahead and move on. I just had to make sure I mention her because I totally forgot about her. Giselle did not invite Karen because of calling GNA's event last season ghetto. Hell, did she lie? That shit was. But speaking of G, we're gonna get in GNA in a minute. But the ladies are on Jazzy's Sprinter van. I want y'all to peep this Jazzy's Sprinter van because we know this is the lady with the money. So that all the ladies get there: Kiana, Wendy, Mia, Jacqueline, and Jazzy. Was there somebody? Stacy. Sorry, was there somebody else on that bus? Stacy was on the bus. So they're trying to figure out as they're on the bus how we're going to go to two events. We have Giselle's event and we have Karen's event. And it's like 6 o'clock. Giselle's event ends at 9, and then Karen hasn't gotten her award yet. So they're like, okay, how should we do this? So Wendy and Karen was like, look, we'll stay at Karen's event because I want to stay to see her get the actual award, and we'll catch an Uber if we have time to meet up with y'all. But y'all go ahead and go say hi to Karen and go to Giselle's event, which I thought was actually smart and strategic and reasonable because at least Karen was some of the cast and at least Giselle was some of the cast. So I thought that they did that very strategically. So we had Giselle's event. Giselle's walking through. Everything looks nice, and I actually will give credit. It did look nice in there. I love the decor. I love the brick and the moldings. I loved all of that. That's actually something I wouldn't mind having like a loft or something that looks like that. I would love that. But Giselle's, so excited about this GNA event because it's paying homage to her father. And as I mentioned, her and Ashley are rebranding it to say there's GNA in infusion, not so much focus on the apparel. Because you guys, as we know, and let's just pause for the cause for this episode real quick, because we know that Giselle and Ashley and this whole GNA thing. Let me bring it up for y'all because I want us to check and see how they're doing since we didn't do that last week. I gave them an ounce of grace here. But let's go ahead and pull it up and let's see what we have here because they should have rebranded it. It's now the episode where we're focused on it. So let's see. Oh, they have GNA Infusion. Yeah, you remember saying it said apparel coming spring of 2024. That's no longer here. I believe
I
that
want to know, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I seriously want to know why you would change what you do as a whole. Did anybody ever get their other GNA clothes? I want to know also why GNA as a company only seems to make changes or have anything happening when the cameras are rolling. It's giving this is a business built solely off of the show, and you expect the show and the audience to fund you, but it's so disingenuous and half-assed. I just cannot.
That was Ashley's event last season, wasn't it? Yep. Everyone got their wrinkled GNA t-shirts. Why did your web designer repost the same damn picture? Okay. There go Ash. Is that Robin? No,
I
that's
work
not
for a
Robin.
nonprofit as a social worker, and it looks like they are genuinely trying to do what a nonprofit would do, but for a wellness company or something. It's given disingenuous.
Why is the picture so blurry? I can't tell if that's Robin or if that's some white lady with a really bad weave.
That's a white woman. That is
okay. Okay.
Robin is whiter than that.
Oh, okay. Well, hell, I mean, it ain't too far. It ain't too far off. Hell, Robin wear weaves like that, stiff at the top at the root. So I mean, but they still have the GNA apparel on the left, y'all. Let's look real quick. GNA, how the fuck do you get to it? Let me click on search.
They think they slick. That's why they're calling it apparel now.
Search.
If you're a wellness brand that's promoting healthy wellness,
what is this? What does this do?
Your
cars. Oh, we can shop. Okay, let's continue shopping.
That's their merch.
That's they still got the same 6 items. Oh wow. Okay. You know what? Because this episode is paying homage to her father, I'm going to reserve how I feel. The next episode, y'all, is on and popping. It's on and popping. I just had to do that. Just to see, if the infusion, because, they had a consultant there for GNA Apparel. I hope y'all are paying him really well for this foolishness. I hope so. But, anywho, yeah, so Ashley shows up to the event and she was all like, okay, where's everybody else? And they mentioned the text message. So Karen sent everybody text messages saying, there's 2 events and she doesn't want them to choose or everything. And Giselle was pissed. Giselle was all like, that was fucking rude. How rude of her. I can't believe she would do this. And if those girls don't show up here, they can forget about it. They don't even need to come. I'd rather they not come. Now, I understood Giselle. I did. I understood that as well because Karen was rude for that shit. I'm sorry, she was. But at the same time, this is not what this is about. This is about you promoting your GNA infusion, right? This ain't about Karen and whether or not the lady showed for you or not. But I understand her point. I do. So Jazzy calls Ashley on FaceTime and says that they're, going to stop by to say hi to Karen and that a few of them are going to go ahead and come up there. They should be there about 8:30. And Ashley said, no. The event ends at 9:00. Don't come at 8:30 because I won't be able to keep y'all in here because Giselle's tripping. So she goes, okay, we'll try 8:00. And Ashley said, yeah, I might can get you guys in at 8:00. So they're trying to do the map quest to see how far Giselle and Ashley's event is from Karen's event. We learned that it's 24 minutes away. Now, y'all, DC's traffic is on something. So they're not getting there in no 24 minutes. They might get there, and it's raining too of all times. Oh no, they're gonna get there probably in 40 minutes. So they get to Karen's event first, and they go up into the event space, and Karen says, how's everybody doing? Thank you for coming. And they tell her, we're gonna go to Giselle and Ashley's event. She goes, yes, please go to her event. I'm sorry I had to do this last minute, but yeah, you guys should definitely go. And Kate and Whitney said, we ain't going nowhere. We staying here with you. So they go off, and then the ladies go and immediately go over to the GNA event. So when they get there, it's 8 o'clock, like they said. And Giselle's, mingling with the people, and she's taking pictures, and she noticed that they walk in. And she goes, oh, no, 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 no. They got to go. Oh, no, no. Being loud as hell. She goes, She goes, Mia, I'm Stacy. Nope, nope. I'm William. They got to go. And then the episode is a to be continued. I was like, Giselle, I mean, they have an hour.
How are you mad at other people for being put in the middle of something they didn't ask for? They didn't do anything. Be mad at Karen. That's why people don't like Giselle.
I mean, yeah, she has every right to be mad at Karen. I feel like she has every right to be mad at Karen. But the other ladies, because at least they show, yeah, they were late, but they didn't want to not show up for Karen either. So it was kind of like they were caught in the middle. So I kind of feel like she was doing way too much. She didn't need to call security on them. And we know that this played out in the blogs. So we know that this is something that, we didn't know how this was going to play out.
It's funny. Giselle will be offended at something so small, but when she has talked about rumors brought up about people's husbands, businesses, shit that affects people's kids, she can't seem to understand why the cast is so impacted. But then you're pissed off that they are coming to your event late. I get that they RSVP, but this shit was for the camera, clearly, because she don't never have no events going on when there's no cameras.
Boom, there you have it. And that's why I said I agree with Giselle being upset. I do. I really agree with that. But yeah, she could have let them stay. Like she could have said, y'all, please, like if y'all RSVP for something, I have caterers and event spaces, people counted. I didn't need y'all to do this. Like I really need y'all to be on time and stuff. But have fun, and we're gonna close up in about an hour. So I hope there's some food left for y'all if y'all are hungry. Like at least give them some kind of like generous hospitality, because they did make their way up there. So I kind of felt like, damn, Giselle.
They also called ahead of time, knowing that they would get there a little bit late. But honestly, the way Giselle has treated everybody on the cast, and with Robin not being there anymore, her only ally, in terms of a true ally, really is Ashley. Karen just deal with her, I think, because they both season 1 day ones. But I don't think Karen cares for her. I don't blame people for doing that. I do think Karen was intentional with what she did, because the Hattified party was shady. They were trying to get information out. Giselle is acting a fool still. I agree with the bitch they went, and she has definitely acted a fool. She's just doing it differently. What pisses me off is she's trying to be manipulative and gaslight the audience. This was for my father. This is a GNA event that happens to be funded and supported by a society that supports people who have the same similar diagnosis of your father. But don't use your father's passing as a way to expect people to suddenly be open to support you and put you ahead, whether they RSVP or not, when you've been treating them like hell, talking about their husbands and families since season 1. You get what you put out. So the only person she should be mad at is Karen, because Karen had her twisted. That was messy. But Karen probably will refuse to talk about it, as Karen does everything else. So
absolutely, we know Karen ain't gonna put this on display. Karen was she like, well, I just want to let you know that I had the event. I just got the time mistaken, Giselle. And I sent the ladies. I told them to go to your event. Once they said hi, because they didn't need to be there, Giselle. They didn't need to do all of that. That's how Karen gonna do it. So I mean, this is so predictable, and I'm just over this. I need them to spice this up some kind of way. Oh yes, please catch the replay, and shout out to all you replay members. I love you guys. Thank you guys for showing up for me. You guys are the best. Let me see. I missed a couple of your comments a bit say winning. Yeah, Karen was wrong, but those women are grown. They know right from wrong. Absolutely, they sure do. They know exactly, and that's why I said I kind of feel bad because that does put them in an in between stages. But I would have did what Vivian did, show up for Giselle because I RSVP'd this first. Karen, you on some bullshit. So, and that's Karen's friend. So I actually would have did the Vivian approach. I would show up to Giselle
Yeah.
shit.
Vivian was like the adult, mature way to handle it. Go where you RSVP to first, but just based on how Giselle treat people, I ain't surprised.
When
And
did
she
this
needed
happen?
to see that.
Who did this? Wait, I missed that scene. Someone tried to close Ashley in the door. Oh, well, I would love to know who did that because I would rewind that scene and posted it here if I thought it was funny. But but that was pretty much the episode, y'all. We stayed here a lot longer, which I thought we were going to because I was definitely going to bring up GNA's website to see if I can get kind of some insight on the infusion, the new football. Oh, okay. Jazzy. Okay, I got you. I got you. I got you. Yes, I got you. I didn't see that scene. I'm gonna go back and rewatch it. But yeah, I have to understand what is the infusion. Ashley, Giselle, can y'all explain this further? Y'all don't talk about this in y'all interviews, so I want to know, for GNA, what does this apparel do? And we're gonna bring this website up again next Sunday to see if they have updated anything, just to give us an insight on what this business new, reapproach to this business is going to be. But that's pretty much the recap, you guys. We're gonna head over to Mrs. Best channel because we have to do Queen's Court. I hope to see all of you there because it was a good episode to say the least. I have a better understanding now of how this is going to work, so I can't wait to see you guys all there. So but yeah, we still want to see what this is going to turn into because I don't think they're going to do anything with it personally. But I would love to be wrong. Would love to be wrong. So I will see you guys at Mrs. Best channel. Mrs. Best, thank you for being there. Shout out to all my peoples that was in the chat. We was live. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys on my next recap. Bye bye for now.